Labdien, godātie mediju pārstāvji.
Good afternoon, representatives of the media. Thank you for coming today on Friday's afternoon. Let's start the press conference with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Latvia, Mr. Edgars Rinkēvičs, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, European Union and Cooperation of Spain, Mr. Josep Borrell Fontelles. I will invite the Minister, dear representatives of media. We just concluded a very productive dialogue with my Spanish colleague, Mr. Fontelles. We already met on plane, coming from informal council, and Mr. Borrell visited also Edgars to meet the representatives of army, and also concluded his visit here already, having a meeting in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Firstly, I would like to say thank you and give much appreciation for Spanish support, as their representation is in Edgars, and I believe colleagues who have experience also tried the military equipment provided, but of course they have also supported us in the patrol mission in Baltic airspace, and it's currently in Estonia. And I think all the activities what Spain is implementing now, it's clear solidarity and friendship. And of course the nomination from the European Council for High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security, it's still ongoing. The discussions will be held in the European Parliament. I wish all the success in this process. I'm fully convinced that Mr. Borrell will make strong external policy and will take into account the interest of each and every member state to ensure regional balance. And this is exactly what we also discussed today. And perhaps I will not speak so much what needs to be done in the context of the EU. Let's see the vote. Let's wait for the vote from the Parliament. But we know that much still needs to be done to have a joint policy, common policy, and also in relation to NATO policy, we are united. I think we are on the same page to have the presence in the region, and this policy has to be in the long term, and we have to say this regional security is not normalized as it should be, and we think that these decisions about military presence in the Baltics and in Poland has to be extended. We also spoke on bilateral cooperation, and from my side I expressed gratitude on the support to our embassy with respect to all the events related to the centenary of our country. We would also welcome King and Queen in our country. I hope it will be a strong signal. We also spoke on the questions related to the EU budget, to the problems and challenges which needs to be solved. We are similar in our position in respect to common agricultural policy, as well as development of infrastructural projects, as well as business projects. So, wide range of questions, short visit, but we agreed to continue our dialogue with Spain, and certainly I would hope after the 1st of November, also with the High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security. I would like to thank and give the floor to my colleague.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much for inviting me and the Spanish delegation to this working visit to Latvia. It's a deep pleasure for me as Minister of Foreign Relations of Spain to visit your country. First of all, I would like to mention the commitment, the strong commitment of Spain with the stability and security in Latvia, a country that we consider a partner and in the framework of the European Union and also in the framework of the NATO. This morning I had the opportunity of visiting, together with the Latvia Defense Minister, the Spanish troops integrated in the NATO enhanced forward presence, detached at the Edgars base together with soldiers from almost 10 different countries. I had the opportunity to check into first-hand the excellent job deployed by our military forces, and I would like to thank the Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, Mr. Pabriks, who joined me this morning, and that will come to Madrid next week, and we will maintain a working session with our Minister of Defense and myself. The bilateral relationship between Latvia and Spain are excellent, and I think that the infrastructure development plans that Latvia has, together with other Baltic countries, will be a good opportunity to enhance this relationship and for our working firms, public works firms, to participate on these efforts. We share common values, we share joint membership on EU and NATO, and we want to reinforce our bilateral ties. We have been talking with the Foreign Affairs Minister on many issues that we are facing together on the discussions at the Foreign Affairs Council all over the world, but also about the prospects of development of the European Union on other fields. Brexit is a common issue for all European countries, the multi-annual financial framework, and we have seen that we share the same point of view, same sensitivity when facing questions of the utmost importance, such as migration. We're talking about a very sensitive issue here in Latvia and also in Spain. Peace, international security, bilateral trade links, and the problems that are in the rise in the world that require our strong attention. Minister, I think this visit will be a way of enhancing our bilateral relations and our common understanding in the framework of the European Union and the NATO.
Paldies, Senks, un mums ir pāris jautājumi. Elēna teica, sāksim.
We do have a couple of questions. There's a question to Mr. Borrell. Could you please give shortly what is the support from the Spanish society to your military presence here in Latvia? For example, Canadian press has got quite a lot of information why Canadian forces are located in Latvia. Is it similar in Spain?
The Spanish army, I am very proud of saying that, is deployed in many places in the world. Spain is the country that participates the most in all peacekeeping missions of the European Union. We are here in Latvia, our planes are in Estonia, our soldiers are in Lebanon, our warships are in Somalia, our planes are in Sahel, we are in Afghanistan, we are in Iraq, in South America, we are in many places. And believe me, the Spanish society is very proud of it. It's very aware that we have common threats, that we have to be faced together, and we are very much aware that it's the best way for our armed force to participate on these peacekeeping missions. There is no doubt, I haven't heard anyone questioning the big effort that we are doing, not only here, but in many places in the world. The Spanish society is very proud of these activities of the armies.
Yes, un Latvijas televīzija.
Question from the Latvian television, and it's a question in relation to Russia. Baltic politicians always emphasize that it's important to restrict Russia from further aggression. And so this is the example of Crimea. What is your opinion, given your nomination? What should be the relationship with Russia? What should it be like?
With the full respect to the European Parliament, which has to approve my nomination, you will allow me not to talk as a maybe future High Representative and not to try to interpret right now which is the position of the European Union with respect to Russia. I think every time has a time. I am just a nominee, but I haven't been appointed yet. I will take care of these issues when I will be nominated, if the Parliament wants, and I think that, as I was saying, with full respect to the European Parliament, I cannot take the place that I still don't have. I can talk only as a Foreign Affairs Minister of Spain. And as a Foreign Affairs Minister of Spain, just as a Foreign Affairs Minister of Spain, not willing at all to overpass this condition, I have to say that all European countries are supporting Latvia and other Baltic countries in the framework of the NATO in order to ensure its security. For sure, we have problems with Russia in Crimea, but thanks God, the situation here has no comparison with what has happened in Ukraine. And I cannot go further. You will understand that it would be not very polite from my part if I continue saying things that only Mrs. Mogherini can say now.
Latvijas radio.
There's a question from Latvian radio. If I may, one addition to the previous question. Do you think that sanctions against Russia should be kept, should be ongoing? And you're also Catalan yourself. And how do you see yourself in respect between Madrid, Barcelona, and how do you see to be solved the issues which are at national level? Thank you.
The sanctions with respect to Russia, there is nothing new. They have been approved by the Council, and we haven't discussed it on the last informal Council, no? By the time being, they are not in the agenda. They have been set up, and there are no news about it, no? About my condition of Catalan, yes, I am a Catalan. Catalan is my mother tongue. I learned to speak in Catalan. And when I took office as President of the European Parliament, I said what I always say. I am Catalan, I am Spanish, I am European. The three things at the same time. And there is no contradiction for me to hold this triple identity.
Paldies.
Es tikai vēl vienu, varbūt gribētu papildinājumu par.
I would like to give a short addition to this whole complex relationship with Russia. I must say that discussion about Russia and the way how we have tried to define our joint position of the EU against towards Ukraine or towards the activities of Russia in Ukraine and occupation of Crimea. It's my opinion that this is a strong success of external policy at European level. and there are some questions which we are still opened, but I truly believe this is a success. And I wouldn't run a step ahead, but I'm looking towards Parliament's decision, but I always follow very closely the activities of High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security, and starting from the 1st of November, it would cover already 27 member states, and it's always meaningful. And sometimes I feel that in our relations with Russia we can see certain waves forward and back, and we would need to do everything what is needed to normalize, to stabilize the relationships. And sometimes we have heard about joint area from Lisbon to Vladivostok, and maybe to restart these relationships. And our position will be the same as it was some years ago. If we can see better development, better relationships, if there's appropriate progress in relation to Minsk agreement, and also Russia has to understand that international agreements have to be obeyed. And I believe the discussions will be on regular basis. There will be different contexts, certainly, but in spite of different discussions, what is of great value that the European Union has managed to agree on united policy during the last 5 years. And the last question. So, Fairs Sarap, journalist. It's the 25th anniversary of ETSO cooperation organization, Minsk Group, Karabakh questions. Armenia occupied 20% of Azerbaijan, and 4 out of 6 countries, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Moldova, Ukraine, there is still ongoing war. And Mr. Fontaine, I would like to ask, since 2019, 1st of November, you are EU High Representative. I would like to ask how and when you will solve the problem in Karabakh.
You know?
Well, first, I am not Mrs. Fontelles. I am Mr. Borrell. At least you should know my name. Second, I never been High Representative. I never been High Representative. When I be High Representative, if this happens, then I will take care of your question. You said you have been High Representative. I'm sorry, I never have been High Representative.